Welcome to State of the City 2019. I'm Georgia CLEMSON, and I have two fantastic guests here, two of the most important people in Grand Prairie, Texas. I have Mayor Ron Jensen.
Good morning, Georgia.
Good morning, and also our city manager, Tom Hart.
Good morning.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Always good to be here.
I know our viewers may be asking, what is State of the City and what is the State of the City? So we're going to find that out today, aren't we?
Yes.
Why don't you start us off, Mayor?
Well, the State of the City is me giving our citizens what the state of our city is. And for the first time ever, we're going to Facebook Live it. We'll show this Friday morning, this coming Friday morning after the State of the City, but you will be able to go back and watch it on a Facebook Live feed, which we'll save it, and you can view it at your pleasure later on. But things are good right now. You know that, Georgia. Things are real good right now.
It is wonderful, isn't it? And Mayor, I know the people driving up and down any street almost in Grand Prairie can see dirt moving.
Well, dirt moving, we've always said, it's kind of like that movie, If You Build It, They Will Come, talking about the baseball field. Well, we know that if you get transportation, when you're in the middle of the Metroplex, one of the fastest growing Metroplexes in the nation, if you build roads, give good arteries, give good transportation, things will come. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing good development coming to our new roads that we're opening up.
And it includes a lot of different development, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Now, our viewers, most of them, want to start off with, how about restaurants and retail?
Well, restaurants and retail are coming, but I'll tell you right now, retail's going through a transformation. 2017 saw the most closings of square footage in the history. 2018 followed with more closings of retail. In 2019, if you've read the news, it isn't getting off to a much better start. There's already been announcements of 4,500 closings of stores. But in this market, our brokers have been able to still give us some good high-value retail and some restaurants. And there again, restaurant businesses are changing. The millennials don't eat like we did with our parents and what we've done with our kids. Things are changing. And so we're getting some of those new, fast, like 0 degrees, Blaze Pizza, things like that other cities have had for years, but we haven't. And so we're getting some of those, along with a few sit-down restaurants like Olive Garden, the Crab Station, things like that.
So that's really exciting for our citizens to be able to enjoy those.
Right, we're getting choices. You and I ate at Jason's Deli yesterday.
Yes.
Jason's Deli has had a warehouse here for years, but we never had a restaurant. I'm excited anytime they call me and tell me we're getting something that we don't have, because it'll fit different needs and different tastes and different desires.
Well, Mayor, I know restaurants are important and retail is in transition, as is so many other things. But how about any kind of entertainment? Well,
for the first time, I'll be able to announce it this Thursday night, and since this is viewing this Friday morning, we are going to be able to announce one huge entertainment regional draw. Main event is coming to Grand Prairie. Now, why is that significant? We're also going to be announcing Living Spaces. So we have IKEA, which is a regional draw. There's not another IKEA in southern Dallas, Tarrant County. Then we're announcing Living Spaces, which is opening up along 161, only the third in the state of Texas. You need to Google Living Spaces. High-end furniture, it's got a restaurant inside. It'll have 170,000 square feet of retail, over 500,000 square feet of warehouse with a 6,500 square foot restaurant. Another regional draw to go along with IKEA in Main Event. There's not another Main Event serving the southeast sector of the DFW area. There's one in Grapevine, there's one in South Fort Worth, but if you take Duncanville, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Grand Prairie, Arlington, Midlothian, Mansfield, there's not a Main Event. And those draw, it's what we call a regional draw, and that's what we're really kind of been focusing on. Regional draws to go along with our Premium Outlet Mall, Epic Waters, the Epic. So as those fill in, we'll start filling in some others that will see the potential for the regional aspects of our shopping right here.
That's excellent. Mr. Hart, can you give us a little information on the possibilities of what's going on or will happen out by the Epic and the Summit?
Well, I'd be happy to, because that is an exciting place and it's an exciting time there right now. Just what we hoped was going to happen was after some of our stuff went in, stuff like the Epic Waters and all of that, we'd start seeing some potential commercial, and we're getting great interest. Week before last, we had a restaurant fly down here, the CEO from Chicago, to look at us, and very interested in coming. We've got 2 hotel projects that we're working on. They're not over the goal line yet, but they're getting close. We've got some other restaurants, one really fun restaurant concept that we hope will be announced in the next few months. I don't see a lot of retail. I think what we'll have in front of all that out there by the lakes will be more restaurants, hotel, entertainment, that type of thing. But then we've still got quite a few acres down to the south of the summit that I think you could see, well, there's no telling, you could see maybe a high-rise apartment complex, mixed use. There we might get some office. So I think that is, with everything going on there and the opening of Playground this year, that is going to become a destination, not just for folks in Grand Prairie, but it's going to become a destination for the whole Metroplex.
Yes, such great possibilities there. Now, Mayor, we're all familiar with downtown, most of us, and there are some things going on there that you would like to tell us about, I bet.
Well, sure. I know I get a lot of comments on Facebook. Well, why are you just focusing on the Epic and along 161? Well, we have to remember 6 years ago, the George Bush Turnpike opened up and allowed us to get to that land that with hundreds and hundreds of acres that are developable. So the developers picked that. Of course, we promoted it, but my goodness, IKEA was the jump starter. So we do have a lot of great things going on there. But we haven't lost sight and forgot about our downtown area or our North Grand Prairie or even deep South Grand Prairie area. Let's just talk about downtown a little bit. You know that we've spent a lot of money upgrading the Uptown, built Farmers Market, and now we're refurbishing the original Fire Station #1. And during Main Street Fest, it will have a soft opening. It's going to be a great little, to have food trucks outside, food inside. A specialty group is running it. Jason, Carly Smith from California, they're originally from here, but they want to move back home here. Just a really fun, exciting area. Barbara's Cakes, she retired and sold, and Zavala's Barbecue bought it. And they are open just Saturday mornings at 11 to close. As they say, 11 to no mas. And they have 200 to 300 people in line every Saturday to line up, and they run out about 1:30 to 2 o'clock every day. But right next door to them is Gordo's, Papa's, there's just a lot of things.
Catfish.
Roma's, Tuscany's, all the way down the line. We have a lot of restaurants that you can eat at. And so when I promote one of them, I'm trying to promote them all at the same time, because if we get people to downtown, they'll see other choices and may come back. And let's talk about North Grand Prairie along I-30 Beltline. We commissioned a study, and we have finally got our first bite, and we're negotiating with someone right now to finally build something along I-30 that we hope, and Georgia, you do too, that it will jumpstart it. We can't announce it yet, but we have been working on it. We've been getting briefed on it. We hope it will be able to announce it soon. And then around Lone Star Park, we're working with Lone Star Park and our other partners out there from AEG and the baseball team to do a development there on that land. So a lot of things happening up Main Street, I-30 Beltline corridor, and even in front of Lone Star Park that we hope to be able to announce some things in the coming months.
Such an exciting time.
It is.
To look at all the possibilities. Now, Mayor, also we have, even though we love to talk about entertainment and restaurants and retail, we have some economic development that's very important to us, don't we?
Well, there's all of this. Cities love economic development because of the sales tax generation it brings in. So we've got a whole list of openings that are coming. It's hard to remember all of them. Ross,
course.
Burlington, Cons.
There's
a whole list of them out there. And I think Ross is supposed to open up this Friday. I think Rebecca will probably be the first one in line. I took her to 2 Rosses yesterday because she was looking for a jacket.
She's such a good shopper. I love that.
So Ross, I think, opens up this Friday. Burke's, there's a whole lot of them that are going to be out there, and more to come.
Yes, and also I wanted us to include, or you to include, the business area as well. We have, I know we have Airbus.
Airbus Helicopters just announced, when I broke ground with them, a $40 million training facility. They'll be having pilots, 1,500 to 3,000 pilots coming through here a year to be trained on their simulator training. Lockheed also out there is hiring 300 to 400 program managers and engineers a year because they are so busy. So the businesses, and they are close proximity to our Epic Central Park, and they want their restaurants because their employees look for something to do after work, to visit with their fellow workers, and so they are excited about the Epic. They're going to both be partners in the Epic with us and offer Epic memberships to their employees, and we'll be using our hotels for when they have guests come in. So it's really neat that, and Tom's been talking to them, negotiating deals, points with them for the memberships and what we can do for them at the hotels.
So that's a win-win for everyone.
Win-win for everyone.
And also, Mayor, I know we have something new in my district for the veterans that I'm not sure everyone knows about.
Oh, you wouldn't know, and it's Tarrant County. You know, our city, a third of our city is in Tarrant County, and we opened up a new VA clinic over by the old DFW Medical Center. It's the clinic next door. It's not in the hospital. It's a clinic outside that has been vacant for years. The VA bought it, and what a valuable asset for us to be able to offer to our veterans that live not only in Grand Prairie and the surrounding area. It's a clinic there at right off Great Southwest and Jefferson.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that's so important for our veterans in this area. And I'm thinking also that our viewers are asking, I see so many apartments going up. What's going on? Do we have anything new as far as, I know that's a changing thing as well as the other things that we're dealing with.
Well, apartments are good and bad. Neighborhoods don't like them, but you have to have that transition for families, and we have lots of property where apartments are a good fit, especially along high, and I-20, I-30, 360, 161. Having apartments serve as that border between the road and the residence is not a bad idea. So we have a number of apartments. It does help get our rooftop count up high enough to where more restaurants will come. So there are a number of apartments that are going up right now. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's a lot of, especially even down 360. See, when they opened up the toll road on 360 to go all the way down to 287, people don't realize how much acreage it opened up for Grand Prairie. Sure, Arlington's on the west of 360. They have some available land. Mansfield does down deep south on 360, but Grand Prairie has the whole east side of 360, and we're looking at some nice development down there, retail.
Right, and like you said, either the apartments, condos, single family, or townhouses, they're required for us to have the things that would sustain
have a good mix,
all of that.
yes.
Well, that's good news, thank you. Now, Mr. Hart, we're so blessed in our city to have wonderful police and fire protection. Can you give us an update of the state of the city on one of those, at least to get us started?
Well, yes. I am, as a city manager, so proud of what these departments have done. let's start with fire. Once again, they've gotten the Gold Star that is recognized on a few cities that have the ability to get somebody from wherever they are to a hospital, into a cath lab within 60 minutes. Now, I hope that's a service that nobody ever needs in this city.
Yes.
I hope they never need our ambulance service, but I don't think people realize that what we've done in our fire and ambulance service. First of all, with ambulance, we've got now 7 frontline units staffed 24/7, 365 days with 2 paramedics. We've got 1 peak ambulance that's here during the peak hours. And then all 10 of our pieces of equipment that we've got, fire trucks and ladders, we've got full paramedics with full equipment. So you look at that. We've got nearly 20 apparatus scattered around town, staffed, that can respond to an emergency. Now, again, I hope you never need it, but let me tell you, that to me, as a city manager and me as a resident, that is critically important. Our fire stations have now been distributed around town. We're rebuilding a couple. We've got 4 that's being rebuilt up in your district.
Yes.
We looked for a different location, just could not find it because there's just not a lot of land up there.
That's right.
So we're rebuilding it right there. I mean, that was an old station. Our truck would hardly even go in the station. Number 6 is getting rebuilt. Or not added on to and improved. We are rebuilding Station 3. Some of our stations have gotten pretty old, but because of what we've done in the fire service now, we have become one of the few cities to get the highest rating, insurance rating, which what that means is it's giving our citizens and our companies lower insurance bills. So I can't say enough about them, but let me switch to police. In the last 8 or 9 years, we have dropped crime. I believe it was 42%. Is that? I believe that was the number. And this year, where some cities were up, we're down. I believe it was 16 or 17% this year, because our police department continues to look at innovative and creative ways to enforce laws and to keep our folks safe. So it is a safer community now, and that's what it's all about. We are now, out of all the cities over 100,000, and there's like 32 in Texas, we're the 7th, we're rated as the 7th lowest crime city. That's huge, because we're a first-ring suburb. We're in older. So it's a testimony to the men and women in our police and fire departments.
It is indeed, and it doesn't really matter what amenities you have in your city unless you feel safe and you have the fire and police protection.
That's exactly right.
You're right.
So it's very important to all of us. Now let's see, Mayor, what else do we have exciting to talk about regarding our city? There's so much. I know we've talked about downtown and the Epic area.
Well, I think what we're going to see is, as Tom mentioned a little bit earlier, or in and around the summit, even south of the summit, there's still a lot of available land. Georgia, I think we'll be seeing development out there for the next 10 years. It will take that long to absorb all that acreage. We've gotten off to a real big jump start with IKEA and then Epic West, but there's available land across the street from IKEA, in and around IKEA, and south of the summit all the way to I-20 still left to develop. So I think over the next 10 years, as people see how well the shops and businesses are doing, it will start filling in and around it, just like it has at any other power center we have. If you take, for instance, out at Camp Wisdom and 360, everything didn't fill in around it or even inside of it for years, and across the street and down to the north of it has started filling in. So we will be able to enjoy for the next at least 10 years, maybe longer, good development in and around that. And even to the east of 161 down to Beltline, we're seeing some development. We don't know how far east the development will go, whether it will go all the way to Beltline for big development, or it will stay at 161. If you think of the Parks Mall on one end, comes 7 miles east to 161, there's a lot of shopping opportunities on that 7 miles. And you throw in our premium outlet malls and everything in there, we're in the mix now, and we're providing some things that you can't get other places. So we're going to keep filling it in over the next 10 years, I believe.
So an exciting future.
Yes.
And we're seeing it develop now. And a lot of that is thanks to those who came before us with their planning as well to be part of this.
Well, while you're talking about that, I was talking to Tom about it the other night. We went out to eat with Charlie and Janice, and Charlie was the mayor for 21 years. And I told Tom this, that it's just like when you buy a big piece of land that's got trees and it's undulated, it's got rocks in it. Grand Prairie was kind of like that when Mayor England became mayor. And he had to get some strong support, your mother being one, Frank Robinson another. It took him some years to build a team. But then they started laying the groundwork that is allowing us to build on now. They had to clear the land. They had to get the rocks out of the way. They had to level the land by hand. And it took a long time. But without their hard work in the years before to get that land cleared and get the correct ordinances in here, the correct staff in here, we would not be able to do what we're doing now, to build the concrete and the foundation and see the walls go up. So yes, we do owe it to our generations past, especially starting in the tenure right after your mother got on the council with Charlie and Frank and a few others got there, because they had to get the vision that Charlie wanted them to get. He had to get support, and it took a while. And we're blessed that they did that, and we're reaping the benefits of it now.
Yes, we're blessed that we get to see the benefits.
Right.
And enjoy them as well.
We get to take the credit.
I remember about 4.5 years ago running for office and just saying Grand Prairie was like a plane, just revving up the engine on the tarmac.
Ready to take off.
Ready to take off.
That's a
and
good
now
analogy, yes.
we've started that lift off. So that's exciting for all of us and for our citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of our citizens, sometimes they ask, why don't we have public transportation, and why can we have these other nice things?
Well, one of the answers to one is the answer to the other,
Right.
and you know that. And but back in the 80s, Grand Prairie was given the choice, as was every other Dallas County city, to join DART. And each city gets a penny sales tax that comes straight to the city. Then there's another penny that is discretionary. The citizens vote that other penny. And had the citizens approved it in the 80s, we would have been part of DART, and that penny would have gone to DART for all these years. By now, we would have spent about $450 million on DART and still would not have light rail because of our position in the whole DART system. But our citizens voted to not join DART. So what have we done with that one penny since then? Well, the first thing we did, the citizens approved using a half a penny to build Lone Star Park, $65 million bond package, half a penny, which has been retired a long time. But the other things we've done with that penny is we built the Summit, we built the baseball field, we built the police fire building, we're building the Epic Water's with it now, park system, roads. So here's where the penny, voter-approved penny, is going now. A quarter-cent goes to street maintenance. That doesn't sound exciting, but folks, as Tom mentioned, we're an older first-ring city. We have streets that are over 75 years old. That 1/4 penny puts $9 million into just taking care of our streets. $9 million, we've been doing it 8 to 12 years, that's 90 to 100 million. Our budget can't can't do that. That 1/4 cent helps us keep up, and we still have. You're probably, some of you are now, so, well, you're not fixing my street. Just think if we hadn't had that 1/4 cent penny, where we'd be. Then we have a 1/4 cent that goes to the Parks Department. Not quite half of that 1/4 cent pays staff. The other half, it's about 40-60% pays off bonds for the refurbishment of things we've done, baseball fields, soccer, things like that. So that 1/4 cent the $0.25 goes to parks. And then we have a $0.25 that goes to our crime control and prevention district that is paying for the police fire building, but not just that, it is hiring police officers to keep us at our, what's the 1.5 per thousand?
That's a standard we try to hold.
That's the standard. We try to hold that, and without that $0.25, hiring the number of officers that we have, our budget couldn't take on that burden without raising our taxes, and we don't want to raise our taxes. And then the final $0.25 is going to pay off the $75 million 25-year bond that is built Epic Waters, the Epic Play Grand Adventures. And so that's why we're able to do these things. We wouldn't have had any of those things had we been part of DART. Sure, we would have bus service, but we wouldn't have Lone Star Park, the Summit, Epic, all the park systems we've had. I dare say we wouldn't be a gold medal city if we hadn't had that $0.25 that helped fund it.
You're exactly right.
We've got a great staff. I don't want to take away from the staff, but that $0.25 has allowed us to do things for our citizens that we wouldn't otherwise have been able to do. So that's what that penny went to, Georgia. Very good question.
Perfect. And that's a wonderful segue, because I was going to just say, Mr. Hart, you have an incredible, outstanding staff. I think that must be one of your gifts, that you're able to select and bring in the quality, top quality people. Why don't you talk about our staff? I know the mayor and I get concerns and complaints from residents, and we can turn them over to the staff. Go ahead, tell us about it.
Well, gosh, this is a short show. I don't know if I can, but I will tell you, I learned a long time ago as a city manager, you don't have to be real smart if you get the right people around you. So, and I've got the right people. People that are passionate about what they do. They care about what they do. They want to deliver the best services. We operate very strongly on a value system here and a mission, and the mission is to deliver not only service, but we call it world-class service. And the people that come to work here and are successful, they buy into that, and they go overboard. Just like you said, they take care of the council, but they take care of every citizen out there also. I mean, they care about the citizens. That's their mission. And, you know, I have been very fortunate. Every year I have to meet with our bond raters, and probably one of the proudest things I am for our city is we talk about a lot of things, gold medals and all that, but we have a financial team, starting with our finance committee on the council, which you sit on, Jim Swafford and Greg Gessner, and then it comes on down to our finance staff. I think we are top flight when it comes to that, just top flight.
I agree.
And because of that, we've become a AAA rated city, and there's not many cities out there in America that can say that. What that means is they feel like our financial system, the way we manage our customers, our citizens' money, is well taken care of. And because of that, and they feel like we have good policies, procedures, controls, they've given us that AAA rating. So I can't say enough about them. But then you move into some of our quality of life stuff. The folks that are running our library, Amy Sprinkles, the people that are running, all the people you mentioned, Mayor, running all of our Parks and Rec stuff. Those folks are the best of the best, and they are taking us to a new limit and a new area that just people are going to love. In fact, Tony Shotwell Library got redone this year. Barden will be opening back fairly soon, and it's going to be a wow. And what our folks have done, they've made our libraries stay relative.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, they are serving a function. Our utilization is up high at a time when a lot of people say, well, is our libraries going to be like Blockbuster? So you can go right on down the list. Our public works staff, our team, that are out there making things happen. We're very fortunate. So like I said, I'm surrounded by some folks that, well, I'm pretty proud of.
Yes, and we are too, and we're so thankful to be blessed with them. Mayor, is there anything that you would like to add before we close today?
Well, I would. I'd like to mention our GPISD, our school district. We're only one of 3 cities in the DFW, the whole DFW area that have kids that are over 75% on free or reduced lunches that got a B from the TEA or better. Every other city got C's and D's. Like Arlington got a D, Cedar Hill got a D, Mansfield made an A, but they have less than 50% of their kids. They have about 40% of their kids on free and reduced lunches. And we know socioeconomics play a big part in education. So I'm so proud of what our administrators and especially our teachers have done. They've looked at their school children. That little 3rd grader that comes to school and may be on a free or reduced lunch, but they don't look at that. They teach that 3rd grader and get them to be the best they can be. So I'm so proud of our school district for getting that TEA grade of a B, of one of very few in the area that have any, just one of very few that got a B period. So proud of them.
Yes, it's so good for the city. It has been such a pleasure visiting with you all today regarding the State of the City 2019 in Grand Prairie, Texas. We have a fabulous mayor and city manager, and we didn't mention our city council. We have one of the
great council, yes.
I agree, Mayor. They work together very well and work very hard for the citizens. So
We're very fortunate.
Yes, we are, and I'm looking forward for the great things that are to come in the coming year. We'll be able to talk about it, Lord willing, next year.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being with us. And I'm Georgia Clemson. Thank you so much for joining us for the State of the City 2019.